Well, we have reached that part of the year where I've decided I need to quit YouTube because I don't have time for it, or I'm just gonna sit into a shot, press record, and start talking about a shoe. So today we're gonna talk about the ASICS SUPERBLAST 2. It's a shoe that I have finally figured out. The most polarizing shoe since the Boston 12. For instance, my guy, Matt Wells, he's put over 700 plus miles in this shoe, and he says the reason why it slaps so loud is so that you can put other runners on notice before you pass them. Now, my other guy, Joanna, he thinks it's a brick, that it's firm, that it's V firm, and he's not alone. I do have to give you a disclaimer. These shoes were sent to me, not by ASICS. ASICS does not send me shoes, but from my guy Pedro off the Supple app out of the kindness of his own heart. That's the third person that I have said my guy, and I want to be clear that I do not have any friends. I actually technically have one friend. It's my best friend. You guessed it, my wife. Now, where do I land on the SUPERBLAST 2? I'm very confused, you see, because this is the second SUPERBLAST I've ever run in, the second SUPERBLAST 2. What I did last summer, you know what I did last summer? I went to the ASICS Move Your Mind tour to see my guy, Kofuzi, the GOAT, and to run in the SUPERBLAST 2. That version, the Move Your Mind SUPERBLAST 2, was very bouncy. It was broken in. It was not disjointed. It was not slappy. I set off at an easy pace, which quickly turned into a steezy pace. And when I looked down at my watch, I saw a pace in the low sevens. Austin is technically the hill country, so perhaps I was bombing down a hill, but it was a very fun shoe. And at that time, I thought this is better than the Skyward X. This is better than the Neo Vista. This is the Zone 3 shoe of the year. Okay, now let's talk about the Pedro pair. This is the Pedro pair of SUPERBLAST 2. And this pair feels like how other people describe their experience in the SUPERBLAST 2. Brickish, firm, a little disjointed. So there's two different shoes and two different experiences, but it's the same shoe. It's a SUPERBLAST 2. So either there's a fickle formulation from ASICS and not every shoe is created equal, or it is possible that the pair that I ran in the Move Your Mind tour already was broken in, and this shoe just needs a little bit more break-in. Now, my guy Nick says that after 200 miles, it became the shoe he was hoping for when he first purchased them, and that's entirely possible. But I was still confused until I bought the Mega Blast. Nobody sent this to me for free on the Supple app. I did buy it off the Supple app for $190. This is not disjointed. This foam is not firm. It gives way. There is no plate in this shoe, and it is not very stable. Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't click off, don't click off, don't click off. Yes, I know, I said stability. We're gonna have stability, but don't click off this video. I know, I'm not a doctor of running, okay? But the doctors of running have weighed in on this shoe, okay? And one of those guys said that this shoe is a wiggly bitch. He didn't technically say that. Those are my words. Those are not his words. I believe he just said it's a little bit wiggly. And that was my experience in the shoe, I guess. I'm not really dialed in to the stability needs. I don't really have stability needs as far as I know, but after I ran in the shoe, my ankles were a little bit weak to the left and to the right. They were barking at me, and I just chalked it up to higher mileage weeks, higher training load, probably not the shoe. Then I ran in the shoe again, and my glute med started barking at me. I got a bunch of dogs below the hip apparently, and they were being very vocal. So I quit running in the shoe, did my PT type exercises, strengthened, ran in some other shoes, took this shoe out a week later, and my Achilles started to bark at me, and I almost rolled coming around a corner, and I was like, oh, it is this shoe. And that's very unfortunate because it's such a fun ride, but I'm gonna have to sell it on the Supple app. So I set it aside, and today when I went out on a run, I took the Nova Blast 5. But that foam also has some give to it. And after a few miles, I said, you know what? I want something a little bit more stable. And I walked into my closet, and there it was, the SUPERBLAST 2. And it was yelling, pick me, pick me, pick me. What a pick me shoe. And when I ran in it, it felt so stable. and it felt so good and firm. It is exactly what I needed. And it was at that point that I realized, holy shit, the Superblast 2 is the stability super trainer. That's what it is. And most people don't really care for stability shoes. Now, maybe it's gonna soften up and it's gonna get some roll through or whatever else, but I could not appreciate this shoe for what it was before because I didn't know what I was expecting something else. They are not who we thought they were, but now it is who I think it is. And it's very welcomed because my legs are still a little bit sensitive as I'm recovering from all of the achiness from the unstable shoes. Anyway, that's the Superblast 2. Thanks for watching, subscribe, like, all those things.